Irish guy, and you have a weird football opinion. I mean, I know you do. We both know you do. As soon as I've even said that, something is coming to the forefront of your mind right now. I mean, you want to say it. You want it to escape out of your mouth. And right now, I sound like a BTEC Devon Brown. I realize this is probably the creepiest start to a video I've ever done. But lads, we all have controversial football opinions. I mean, apparently it's controversial to have Jose Mourinho bed sheets in 2023. Apparently it's controversial to think that Jack Grealish is no better than peak Juan Mata. But lads, today, I'm gonna open the door for you. I've asked you all on Twitter for your one controversial football opinion. And the responses to this tweet are scarily weird. By the way, if you're new, then hi! But just to fill you in, the mission on this channel is to overtake Rory Jennings and somehow beat him to 300,000 subscribers. I mean, if we can do that, I'm doing a 24-hour live stream where all you lovely folk can ask me anything. And I do mean anything. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button too, and let me read some very weird tweets. Oh, I'm gonna need some water for this. Right, let's go.
Lampard is the reason the Chelsea striker curse exists.
This makes no sense. Blaming Lampard for the curse. Oh, what, as if he's Johnny Depp in the first Pirates of the Caribbean film? No, this has nothing to do with Frank. Please just let him eat his beef burgers in peace. The Chelsea striker curse existed with the likes of Matija Kezman and Anton Shevchenko. Now, unless Lampard chose to sneak poison into their Cocoa Pops, unless he personally stuck into their room and injected their feet with raw cement, then I don't think you could blame Lampard for Chelsea having awful luck with centre forwards.
Bradford City 2013 Cup run isn't talked about enough.
I mean, I'm sure it's talked about enough in Bradford. Listen, Bradford's run to the League Cup final in 2013 would probably be given more credit if they didn't lose 5-0 to Swansea. It's probably not talked about because that was the biggest embarrassment I've ever seen in a domestic cup final. Christ, up Swansea even had two players fighting over which one got to take a penalty. This match was like a pre-season friendly. I mean, sure, the cup run was brilliant. Bradford were in League 2 and knocked out Notts County, Watford, Burton Albion, Wigan, Arsenal and Aston Villa over 2 legs. That was huge. But I mean, if you could beat Arsenal, why couldn't you put up a fight against Swansea? Come on, they only had Wayne Routledge on the wing. It's not that scary, is it? I mean, the reason it's not talked about is probably for the same reason that Game of Thrones isn't talked about anymore. The ending sort of spoiled the entire legacy. And so yeah, when Phil Parkinson's team looked like a wet cowpat who froze in front of 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium, it was just a bit uncomfortable to watch.
Henry's handball wasn't a handball versus Ireland.
What? What are you talking about? It hit his hand twice. Twice! How is that not a handball? This isn't even up for debate. The man even admitted he handled the ball. I'm sorry, what? What is this opinion? What?
Liverpool 1920 are the best team of this decade.
Why though? Liverpool took 99 points during the 1920 season. Man City picked up 118. 100 is more than 99. I mean, City scored 106 goals in the Premier League that season. Liverpool, weirdly, only managed 85. Even the City team who finished second to Liverpool that year, they still scored nearly 20 more goals. I mean, City in 2018 lost 2 league games. Liverpool in 2020 lost 3. Smashed 3-0 by Watford, 4-0 by Man City. They were dumped out of the FA Cup by a Chelsea team coached by Frank Lampard. Couldn't get past Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. So no, this one is wrong. Although one thing that is forgotten about the City Centurions, this is a club who were so desperate for 100 points, right? So then how in May, the day they lifted the Premier League title at the Etihad, how did they toil to a 0-0 draw at home with Huddersfield? So anticlimactic. It's a bit like on the day you graduate from college. You choose to celebrate by playing strip poker with your nan.
Stuart Dallas is one of the most underrated players in Prem history.
Stuart Dallas, one of the most underrated players in Prem history? That's a bit like saying that Mr. Poppins Penguins is one of the most underrated movies of all time. Yeah, kinda hard to underrate it when only about 7 people have ever sat down to watch it. Stuart Dallas had 2 seasons in the Premier League, representing a chaotic Leeds team. Sure, I mean, he did well in his first season under Marcelo Bielsa, yes, but in the second, the Northern Ireland wingback was about as memorable as any episode of Drake and Josh. Just poor, so no, this is a very weird opinion. Are you Stuart Dallas' mum?
Guardiola, without Barcelona paying for referees, would have never won a single Champions League. He'd be on the same level as Mauricio Sarri.
I don't even know where to begin with this.
Grealish would be the best Irish player in the history of the country.
This is terrifying. This is a horrible thought. Jack Grealish would be the most expensive Irish player of all time, sure. But I mean, you think this sweaty bloke who scores 5 goals a season for Man City, you know, the same thing Kiki Musamba used to do, is better than peak Damien Duff? You think he can hold a legacy to Roy Keane? I mean, Liam Brady absolutely ripped it up for Arsenal, Juventus, Sampdoria, Inter Milan and West Ham. I mean, he was replaced at Juve by Michel Platini, one of the all-time GOATs. I mean, when Grealish leaves City, he's going to be squeezed up by what? Cole Palmer on the wing? Someone whose name is about as memorable or exciting as vegan Weetabix? Don't you dare mention Grealish in the same breath as Brady or even Johnny Giles.
National League North players are closer to Messi than we are to them.
No, people like to pretend that normal people who play football are just mere mortals, and so on a Premier League pitch, we'd all look like drunken donkeys who wouldn't even be able to touch the ball. No, I'm sorry, but if you have a basic level of footballing ability, you can score a goal in the Premier League. I mean, look at Kelechi Iheanacho's tap-in at the Etihad on the weekend. He is literally 1 yard out. You don't need to be a professional footballer to score that goal. My grandma Maureen would score that goal, and she's been in a casket for a solid 20 years, so I would disagree.
Jude Bellingham is still coming to Liverpool in the summer.
No, he's not. Just let it go. Is this Craig?
Eric Dyer is the best centre-back in the Premier League.
Sorry, Lua. But I mean, did you wake up this morning and decide to shove chunks of toast up your nose? Because something is clearly interfering with your brain.
David Silva is the best player the Prem has ever seen or ever will see.
Right?
David Silva is the most overrated player in Prem history.
What? One guy thinks he's the GOAT. The other guy thinks he's, what, on par with Jermaine Pennant? Silva was not the best player in Premier League history, no. But I mean, he wasn't overrated either. He was genuine world class and was arguably underrated. Put it this way, if he was English and wasn't being suffocated in that elite Spain squad, then he'd probably be England's greatest ever footballer. I mean, pure footballer. Yes, even better than Gaza. David Silva was elite. He was world class. But I mean, he just didn't score enough goals for the average punter to really take notice.
Modric is overrated, and aside from trophies, even Fabregas and Ozil were better.
Oh, you hate to see it. This is a horrible, horrendous opinion. Oh, I suddenly feel a sick taste of penguin sick in my mouth. Surely, you must realize how dreadful this sentence is. Can you hear the stupidity? Okay, if you want to delete trophies from Modric's resume, then we can. The facts are still that he survived 11 years in Real Madrid's midfield. I mean, forget the 5 Champions League wins, sure. He's played nearly 500 games for the club. Now look at Mesut Ozil, a fine baller at Real Madrid. Yeah, but I mean, he was dumped after 3 years. Says Fabregas, an incredible midfielder, absolutely. But he was also tossed away by Barcelona after just 3 years. Modric is nearly 38 years of age and still plays for Real Madrid every week and is still competing to win his 6th Champions League. Ozil was playing in Turkey at 32. I mean, Fabregas is 2 years younger than Modric and currently plays in Serie B, where Dennis Wise is his president. I mean, come on! At times, Real Madrid are a superficial club who like to get rid of anything that looks ugly, like Ozil or Di Maria. Well, Modric has always looked like David Guetta's mum, and he's still too good for them to get rid.
On ability, Martial is the best striker in the Premier League.
This is why we shouldn't let certain people vote.
Anthony Martial is the best number 9 in the league and possibly the world. Injuries just haven't been on his side.
What is this? I thought we deleted the Ballon d'Or chat in 2015. How is it 8 years later people still think this man is world class?
Robbie Keane was better than Roy Keane.
What? Baking cookies? Knitting jumpers with his wife?
Pep can only coach teams with money. He can't do it like Klopp at Mainz or Jose Mourinho at Porto.
I actually don't even believe this one is true either. I mean, okay, give Guardiola that Porto squad in 2004 and he'd probably squeal like a frustrated pig. I mean, without creative attacking fullbacks, he wouldn't even have got them out of the group. But if Guardiola settled into a project job and was given 5 years to build a team, like at Borussia Dortmund, if he'd come into that job in 2008 and was allowed to fine-tune his team without spending stupid crazy money, I think he would have outdone Klopp. By 2013, they'd have won the Champions League at Wembley. Guardiola's philosophy on the game, the fact he used to coach the Barcelona B team where you can't spend any money, he's a tactical magician. Sure, he is lucky, very fortunate that he's had monster jobs where he's had loads of money available to him. But I honestly think he'd succeed anywhere.
Nathan Jones would have got Southampton into Europe.
The only way Nathan Jones would have got his players into Europe is if he took them all on a beach holiday to Lisbon. I mean, sure, if he'd invite them all out on a stag do in Berlin, then technically, sure, get the passport out. But if you mean competitive European football, then you must also think that every Uber driver is a secret alien who's ready to eat your children for tea, because you're a very strange little man.
Sterling always has been an average Premier League winger. Runs a lot, capitalises so little, and doesn't perform on the majority of the big games.
You just described Nathan Redmond. Do you really think Raheem Sterling is Nathan Redmond? I can never stomach the Sterling slander. Does anyone really think that Raheem Sterling was indeed an average tactical bird brain who just runs like Forrest Gump? Would Pep Guardiola have really persisted with him for 7 years? And he outlasted the likes of Leroy Sané at the Etihad. Would you also classify him as being a German Stuart Downing? People who say that Sterling just cannot finish. Oh, did he just score 131 goals for City by accident?
Oh, but they're all tap-ins! tap-ins?
Yeah, Ruud van Nistelrooy scored nothing but tap-ins, and he did it all by camping inside the 6-yard box. Sterling was having to time his runs from out wide. He literally finished one season for City on 31 goals. That's just 11 less than what Cristiano Ronaldo scored in 2008. When that stat nearly broke everybody's brain. I mean, he won the Ballon d'Or off the back of that. Honestly, leave Sterling alone. Theo Walcott is an Arsenal legend. 2 FA Cups. In 13 seasons at the club.
Luton Town will come up and finish mid-table next season.
Okay, if this happens, if Luton Town finish mid-table in the Premier League in May 2024, then I will personally track down this Twitter user, provided they're still alive, go to his house, and let them chuck a pie filled with dog poo in my face.
Big Sam would win the Champions League if he managed a Big Six team.
If Big Sam Allardyce coached the Big Six team, most of the players would immediately throw up in the corner of the changing room. You want to know Big Sam's record in Europe? 1 season in the UEFA Cup with Bolton. I mean, he beat a Bulgarian team twice, failed to beat Besiktas, squeaked a 1-goal win over Zenit, failed to beat Victoria Guimaraes, failed to beat Sevilla, failed to beat Marseille at home, and was then knocked out by Marseille away. Am I supposed to be impressed by that? When Steve McLaren reached the final that year? When Roy Hodgson would soon take Fulham to the final? Just stop!
Salah's Prem career is better than CR7's.
Salah has won 1 Premier League title. Ronaldo has won 3. Look, Salah has 135 Premier League goals, yes. He's 14th in the all-time list. He's got 32 goals more than Ronaldo, but I genuinely believe Ronaldo at Manchester United in 2007 and 2008 and 2009 was better than anything Salah has ever produced in a Liverpool shirt. And let's not forget, Ronaldo has never failed at a Premier League club. Not really. He's never been a Premier League flop. Salah has. At Chelsea, like it or not, that's a stain on his CV.
Paul Scholes is the best midfielder ever to play the game, and no one will replicate his greatness.
Interesting.
Darren Fletcher was more important to Manchester United than Paul Scholes.
So which is it? On one hand, we've got one fella saying Scholes was better than Zidane. Now another guy is saying he wasn't even better than the Scottish Weasel, the 2000s answer to Scott McTominay. By the way, you're both wrong. Scholes was not the best ever midfielder. Honestly, the likes of Zidane and Iniesta would eat this man's career with a spoon. But the comment about Fletcher being more important, this man should never be allowed to use a computer ever again. I know you meant well by responding to this tweet, but now I can't help but feel that your hard drive needs to be checked. Honestly, his screensaver is probably a photo of a decapitated dog.
Rodrigo will have a better career than Neymar.
Right?
If Rodrigo was born in Stoke, he'd better get into the Blackpool starting 11.
These 2 tweets just sum up Twitter. I mean, the Blackpool comment is absolute wet pig diarrhea. I mean, Rodrigo could do 2 keepy-uppies outside the Blackpool chip shop, and he'd instantly be proclaimed as the best player since Stanley Matthews. As far as him having a better career than Neymar, though, well, he's already won as many Champions Leagues, yes, but he's not a teenage boy. He's 22 years old and has never scored more than 5 goals in a season and is majorly outshined by Vinicius Jr. Neymar is literally Brazil's record goal scorer. Rodrigo has got 1 for Brazil. Rodrigo, he's going to be closer to Robinho than Neymar.
Peak De Gea is better than any goalkeeper's peak.
Iker Casillas says hello.
Klopp should be sacked.
For who, Steven Gerrard? Give your head a wobble, sir. Sacking Jurgen Klopp would be as clever as choosing to eat mincemeat you found on the side of the road. Stop this nonsense!
Graham Potter is the best English manager to set foot on a football pitch since Bobby Robson. It wasn't easy to manage a team with the likes of Sterling, Kante, Reece James or Koulibaly. So far, he is the only manager to justify the English hype.
This is absolute offensive garbage. The best English manager since Sir Bobby. When Eddie Howe was Newcastle 3rd in the league, even Alan Pardew was a better manager than Potter. You know, the guy who got Newcastle under Mike Ashley to finish 5th, and he reached the extra time of 2 FA Cup finals. I would rather be managed by a Harry Redknapp or even Kevin Keegan than this limp, hipster noodle of a coach.
France 2018 World Cup squad was the greatest international team of all time.
Nah, nothing will ever top that era of dominance from Spain from 2008 to 2012. Nothing. No Brazils, no Frances. That Spain tiki-taka team with Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, David Silva, Torres, Villa. Christ, well, that was the most difficult international team to face of all time. They just controlled every match. They never gave you the ball. And I think that whole era of dominance was triggered by a defeat to Northern Ireland in 2006.
Irish guy leaving HITC Sport on a free is the worst deal of 2022.
How did this one get in there?
Portugal have never needed Ronaldo for the national team, while Argentina relies on Messi too much.
Whatever about Portugal not needing Ronaldo now, to say they never needed him. He's literally scored 122 goals for them. He is the only reason they qualified for the 2014 World Cup. Remember when his hat-trick knocked out Sweden? Without him, they wouldn't have won Euro 2016 either. So I think this makes you look like you've got scrambled egg between the ears.
The MLS is becoming a good league to develop young players.
Oh, go on, Wellesley. Interesting comment this. Good old Wells. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe the MLS is good. Good comment, Wellesley.
Arsenal are going to be back to finishing 9th next year, and Newcastle are going to sack Eddie Howe mid-season next year.
Oh, this just, I'm done with it. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, these comments are crazy. Oh, I'm getting no. Anyway, that's the end of the video, lads. Those comments were wild. I can't even begin to process them. But anyway, listen, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.